David Gerig, and my educational principles, impact, and criticism presentation is focused on Albert Bandura. Albert Bandura is a Canadian American behavioral psychologist credited with creating social cognitive theory. And that is my first educational idea. In his research, Bandura focused on the foundations of human learning by studying the tendency to imitate the behaviors of others. Bandura's theory says people learn through constant interactions among personal, behavioral, and environmental factors. These factors impact one another and are impacted by one another as well. Learning goals can be set and self-regulated through these three factors. Students who believe that an academic outcome is within reach will successfully handle negative experiences because they believe a successful outcome is attainable. But Bandura stated that the same individual might be optimistic in one activity, might be self-doubting in another. Therefore, domain-specific measures within the theory are most appropriate. An example is when a student's success on a reading test might be negatively impacted by their parents' upcoming divorce. That's the personal factor of this theory. Their self-efficacy might be negatively affected in reading and possibly other areas of school due to this personal factor. My second educational idea is self-efficacy, which is the perception about what one is capable of doing. Adult modeling influences self-efficacy for learning and performing well. It's not the same as self-concept, which is the general idea of what one thinks about themselves. Self-efficacy is what one thinks about a specific skill of theirs. Self-efficacy has shown to predict behavioral change with various people. Teachers provide self-efficacy information to students through constant feedback, positive and negative. Perception of progress towards a goal raises their self-efficacy and sustains motivation. Successful performance must follow, though, to keep that self-efficacy improvement going. A quote from Snyder and Fisk, 2016, says, "Higher levels of teacher self-efficacy are modestly related to higher levels of student achievement, student self-efficacy, and student motivation." So teachers play a great role in the self-efficacy of their students in certain areas. An example is since self-efficacy stems from modeling, social persuasion, and psychological factors, physical education is a great opportunity to increase students' self-efficacy by modeling a healthy lifestyle, persuading them to stay active in their lives, and increasing their heart rate throughout class. My third educational idea is modeling, where functions of modeling include serving as social prompts for observers to behave accordingly, providing punishment and reinforcements for doing certain behaviors and activities. Modeling greatly expands the range and rate of learning but does not guarantee it. Observers acquire an approximation of a skill through observing models. They refine and internalize their self-regulatory skills through corrective feedback from models, teachers. Observing models being successful on a specific task can increase expectations on a task by an observer. Children will be reinforced or punished with the messages they hear and see through the models. An example of this is offering opportunities for different students to help demonstrate a skill or technique in physical education class, where a third grader might know a jump rope skill that he can demonstrate to his fellow students. The observers see that and now perceives themselves of having the ability or capability to possibly perform that same task, the new jump rope skill. Criticism of Bandura's theory is by biological theorists who argued it ignores biological states and atomic nervous system responses. It is a fact that some behaviors and responses are not only learned but partially inherited. So there's too much of an emphasis on modeling with Bandura's theory. That's what behaviorists say. Personal criticism comes from the Bobo doll experiment, where an adult acted aggressively towards a doll, and then the children repeated the behavior. I have to believe that if an adult were acting violently toward a child, other children would not repeat the behavior. It does serve a purpose for modeling, demonstrating that, but I find it hard to believe a child would go hurt another child simply from a demonstration they saw. So that is Albert Bandura's social cognitive theory.